Are you a gamer? And have you been playing in the last 10 years of this plague called modern gaming, where everything has a microtransaction and games launch incomplete with half of the content, and then throughout the seasons you get the rest of the content? Or maybe the game comes out barely working and then they slowly fix the game 6 months in. We've had a lot of games like this, unfortunately. The latest one being one I covered recently, Diablo 4, where they're massive developers and they come up with all these excuses as to why their game doesn't work. Oh, well, it's hard. The developers weren't able to. Oh, the timelines. Oh, the funding. Well, here comes Baldur's Gate 3, okay? It is basically like a D&D style game, but man, Baldur's Gate 3 has taken the world by storm since it came out. I mean, look at this. Best-selling pre-order on PS5. All right, Baldur's Gate 3 has beaten Tears of the Kingdom as the highest rated game. There's thousands of different like headlines like this, where players are enamored by Baldur's Gate 3. And I gotta give props to IGN here. They made this video. I saw like 2 minutes of it, and in the first 2 minutes I was like, wow, this is fantastic. I'm gonna cover this because I really sincerely hope that gaming is turning around. It's veering back to the original way it was made, where developers would put passion and original creativity into games instead of a game being a vehicle for a business model to make X amount of money, because every video game company is slowly acquiring each other and just becoming this mega corporation with investors and board members and red tape everywhere and bureaucracy everywhere. And now every game needs to be monetizable at a certain extent, and you just slowly lose your mind as all your favorite games and titles and even movies and shows, again, just turn into a business model to make money off people. Okay, but Baldur's Gate 3 represents that old school style of gaming that also FromSoft and CD Projekt Red, even at times, even though when Cyberpunk came out, it was a little buggy and all that, it was a little rushed. But as far as it is now, it's a lot better than it was before. But anyway, those developers are the type of developers that we want to support. But I'll let this guy take it.
Baldur's Gate 3 is taking the internet by storm. At its peak, a whopping 800,000 plus concurrent players were playing this weekend, catapulting it to the number 8 most played of all time spot. The gaming community has sung its praises, and it's incredibly refreshing to play a feature complete game of this caliber.
Feature complete game. That's what I'm talking. If I pay, what is it, $70 a game these days? If I pay $70, I expect all the content up front. None of this season's bullshit. None of this, hey, wait for the DLC. None of this, hey, wait 3 months from now when we have patch update 1.1. I don't want patches. I don't want none of that. I want you to test your game properly before the game launches. Do not, developers, punish people for buying your game on launch, right? Because then you're just going to get way less people pre-ordering and launching all this, and that's what's happened in the last couple of years.
On day one. But AAA game developers want you to know that this is rockstar level nonsense for scope, that it's foolhardy to set expectations higher, and Baldur's Gate 3 should not be used as a raised standard to RPGs going.
Imagine saying, like, these are developers tweeting from other companies basically bitching about the fact that a game developer nailed a video game, and like they're now like a dog, with their tail tucked between their legs, tweeting, oh my god, guys, don't expect this from us, we can't do this shit. Like, why not? Like, Blizzard is one of the largest companies they're $1 billion company. What do you oh, don't expect this from us? Why not? Why should we not have massive expectations from games that cost like $500 million? Like, didn't Halo, when it came out, Halo Infinite, didn't that game cost like $500 million for what? It's like a dead game now. It's embarrassing.
Why was the first response to defend the current state of AAA gaming as opposed to saying, hey, maybe we can learn a thing or two from Baldur's Gate 3 and make our game better for our customers?
Say it louder, man.
This all kicked off way back on July 8th, a lifetime ago by internet standards, I know, when a writer and BAFTA nominee, Xavier Nelson, took to Twitter to express concerns about Baldur's Gate 3, namely that fans would use Baldur's Gate 3 to apply criticism or a raised standard to RPGs going forward. My rebuttal is, why shouldn't customers have raised standards?
Yo,
taking it a step further,
shout out to IGN, man. Call them out.
Raise their own standards.
That's right.
Are we really going to pretend that consumers shouldn't be a little upset right now and hoping for an improvement in the industry going forward?
I'm gonna speed this up.
Rockstar just announced a $50 remake, conversion of the original Red Dead Redemption for the PlayStation 4 and Switch that has no mention of a 4K update, no mention of 60 FPS, and no mention of multiplayer support. The game came out 13 years ago, and the Xbox port does everything they're offering, and then some.
And they want $50.
60 copy. Go buy a brand new copy of the Game of the Year edition on Amazon right now for $30, and you're good to go. Star Wars Jedi Survivor, when released on PC, had furious fans citing numerous problems getting the game to run, frequent crashes, and similar problems on the PlayStation 5 and Xbox.
But they still ship it out because they know we'll buy it.
Working to fix the issues. Destiny 2 just released a State of the Game blog saying, amongst other things, that they don't have the resources to release new ritual armor.
Destiny is one of the, like, I've been following that game because I love Bungie, obviously, for Halo, but man, what Destiny has turned into is just, it's atrocious, man.
Every season, but that same studio manages to create new armor sets in the shop for up to $20 a pop, without fail, every season. Diablo 4 unabashedly has several character skins priced at $20 each, and just released their first season that had a patch that was so poorly thought out that the developers had to have an emergency live stream to apologize, and have since begun working to revert those changes.
They also, I think I saw somebody post this on Reddit. They're like, they put a hiring ad for a lead game designer, a lead season designer, or something like that, because apparently they fired somebody because they're trying to hire somebody else to hire or to design the new seasons of Diablo, because Diablo season 1 was atrocious. It was a joke. It was horrible. Like the content, the Malignant Hearts, that's it. It was awful.
We don't plan on doing a patch like this ever again.
Okay, you need a more comparable RPG example of why fans are heralding Baldur's Gate 3 as a breath of fresh air? Look no further than Mass Effect Andromeda, which was widely panned.
Sorry, my face is tired from dealing with everything.
Or Cyberpunk 2077 that made promises about last-gen game consoles that it couldn't keep. It took CDPR almost a year to get that.
Hey, I promise I didn't watch this part. I didn't know they would talk about this, but it's true. And I did buy Cyberpunk on the release date, and yeah, it was a buggy mess. I'm not gonna lie. It was pretty buggy. It wasn't as bad as when I played it, I didn't get these kind of like textures not loading in and stuff. It was just like, it just was not running smooth, and my FPS was all over the place.
All sorted out. I'll make this as clear as possible to contextualize how fans are feeling. It feels like money has become more important than the core experience for fans. That's why Elden Ring, Baldur's Gate 3, and even The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom are being widely celebrated.
Yes.
So what is up with the excuses? A game came along that is amazing, is selling well, is being praised by developers and fans alike, and the response is, well, we can't do that. Well, sweet. If that doesn't get me hyped for Mass Effect 4, I don't know what will. Xavier's tweet was well-intentioned, and he went on to add a lot of important context, but I think it misses the perspective of the consumer. We don't know anything about game design or how hard it is. We just know that Destiny is deleting hundreds of dollars worth of expansions when they feel like it, that Diablo is constantly reminding us to buy skins in their store, and most PC ports have been abysmal lately. Remember, that tweet was made nearly a month before Baldur's Gate 3 blew up, and it was still contentious with fans.
Developers, cry me a river, man. Like, I do not care. I'm a consumer paying for whatever the marketing team hyped about your game. That's on you, okay? That's on your company. If you guys are over-promising and crying after the fact, after you sell out, wasn't Diablo 4 like the highest selling Blizzard game? And y'all are complaining after y'all make damn near, billions of dollars or whatever y'all made? Cry me a river. You know what I mean? Like, if Baldur's Gate 3 can do it, you can do it. I believe in you. Okay, none of this loser mentality. Oh, guys, hey, that game's really good. Don't expect us to do that. Like, bruh. Okay, then whatever game y'all are launching next, I'm gonna go ahead and not buy that. I'm gonna go ahead and not buy that. How about that?
And speaking up about their frustration.
Also, that's a great Baldur's Gate 3 ad, by the way. Like, you're only helping Baldur's Gate. Like, anybody hearing that is like, okay, I thought about buying Baldur's Gate 3, even though the gameplay doesn't really look all that appealing to me as far as, you know, the turn-based systems and all that. But the game itself is crazy. It has like 17,000 endings and like millions of words in their script. It has, I think, twice the cinematics that the entirety of Game of Thrones seasons 1 through 8 has. It's like an insane game. It's like just ridiculous amount of content upfront given to you once you purchase the game. Would you look at that?
And developers chiming in to say what felt like game development is hard, you don't get it, be quiet. Baldur's Gate 3 is a game from a large, passionate studio that refuses to add microtransactions, gave players early access so they could address any problems that arose before launch, and it's taking Steam charts by storm. So why should fans not use that as a gold standard of how to do it right? And why would a AAA studio not look at it and say, hey, maybe cramming microtransactions into our game isn't a good look? When Mass Effect 4 comes out, I don't want to see a $20 Liara skin, and I hope that its performance is tested across all platforms before release. Am I in the wrong for not wanting microtransactions in a stable video game at launch? Credit where credit's due now. There have been some really good examples of AAA games like the Dead Space remake and the Resident Evil 4 remake come to mind, both of which have been massive successes for EA.
Resident Evil is low-key one of my favorite games.
Came along and took the internet by storm last year. Do I need to bring up Elden Ring again?
No, you don't.
That tweet blew up in the development sphere, and frankly, the pushback is just ridiculous. Developers should be looking at what Baldur's Gate 3 did and trying to replicate where they can, not jumping up to defend games that are cramming in practices that fans are getting fed up with. And make no mistake about it, these decisions impact game design. Many games are utilizing battle passes and player engagement as a metric of success. For a player, that means more grindy missions. That means more reminders to stop in the shop. It means a boring grind because keeping players engaged is a key metric.
Yo, IGN is preaching right now.
Why Baldur's Gate 3 shouldn't be the new standard have since walked back those statements, and I'm glad, because if the industry can't take a good hard look at what's going wrong, why fans reacted the way they did to Elden Ring and Baldur's Gate 3, and then make impactful changes, we're screwed. Also, people seem to be using the fact that Larian is a big studio against them, the fact that they had a long development cycle against them. Really? Blizzard is also a huge studio with over 8,500 employees across several offices. They credited every employee at Blizzard in the release of Diablo 4. Bungie is a huge studio with over 1,552 employees across several offices. BioWare is a huge studio with over 500 employees across several offices. And Larian is also a large studio with over 400 employees.
I mean, this is absolutely like embarrassing, bro. Like, this is the most beta male energy ever. Hey, well, you see that guy over there beating us? Imagine playing basketball. Hey guys, that guy's just too good. Don't expect our team to play that well. We actually need to, we need to lower the expectation. Bro, it's a competition. You're trying to win the consumer in the, the game of the market. It makes me fucking sick. Honestly, to see the response to that, it confirms everything we didn't want confirmed as consumers. We're like, dude, in the back of your mind, you're like, maybe the game is hard to develop. Maybe I'm being too harsh on these developers. Maybe I don't know. And then Baldur's Gate 3 comes out and delivers pristine gaming experience. And everybody else starts complaining. It's unreal.
Across several offices. All of them have established beloved IPs with a ton of lore to pull from. All of them have a lot of money to make video games, and all of them had a long time to make anything they wanted to make. To say Baldur's Gate 3 is successful because it's aligned with Dungeons and Dragons is insanity. You think 800,000 Steam players are playing a game called Baldur's Gate 3 because of Dungeons and Dragons? No, it's clearly gone far beyond that audience. Yeah. I don't know anything about Dungeons and Dragons. I didn't know this game had anything to do with Dungeons and Dragons And you know why I'm playing it? Because I like good games with a heavy focus on storytelling and bears. But anyway, it wasn't all doom and gloom from the development side. Thank you, Juno Blees, formerly of Riot, for jumping in and echoing exactly what I'm saying here. Her quote tweet reads, "I can't disagree with this one more. Whenever a game disrupts the industry and delights players beyond expectations, it absolutely raises industry and genre standards regardless of why and how. We should look at the Larian success story and ask ourselves, how are we going to make our games better and create the next games that shake up the industry? Players should and must always expect more from us, never less. Thank you. I implore AAA devs to look at these games that are being celebrated."
It's crazy to me. Like, imagine in you know, when Steph Curry came into the league and he started shooting threes, everybody else was like, okay, we need to learn. We need to have shooters now. We need people to shoot three. And then the game of basketball was elevated. And now the youth coming into the game are so much better than previous generations, right? The same in football, the same in business, the same with iPhones, right? You don't come out with an iPhone 14 and it's like worse than the last one. If Android comes out with a sick Samsung Galaxy phone, well then iPhone needs to give the consumer a reason to buy it over the competition. You can't just preach to the consumers, hey guys, this new phone came out and it's too good for us to make. So don't expect the next phone we make to be as good as this one. Okay, like, bro, that's insane. I can't believe people actually tweeted that. It's mind-blowing, to be honest with you.
And look at your pipeline to see why the consumer is getting frustrated about the experience I outlined in this video. And obviously try and make an improvement, because telling me how hard it is when you're breaking profit and revenue records isn't a super compelling argument from the customer's perspective. Is Baldur's Gate 3 an outlier? Yes, but I for one wish it could become the standard, and being told to shut up because I don't know game design doesn't feel super constructive. But hey, I'm just some idiot on the internet who doesn't know anything about game design. I guess I'll just go buy my horse armor and call it a day. Enjoy your $20 on top of your $100 for the collector's edition, on top of your $15 for the battle pass.
Yeah, I didn't buy any of that shit. I didn't buy the battle pass. I didn't buy the skins. Like, that's ridiculous. Let's look at these comments. Give this man a raise. This is what IGN used to be. That's what I'm saying. I hope IGN takes... This is a huge W for IGN. This is a great look. How many views does this video have? 1 million views in 2 days. Hey, go off. Pop off, King. Who is this? What is this guy's name again? I thought I saw it down here. Let's see. I don't know. I can't find his name. Destin. There you go. Destin. BattleBit Remastered is also a good game with like I don't think they even have 10 people on their team, and they like made a great Battlefield game. It's like bits, but still. Major W for Larian. Yep. So yeah, I mean, I don't think I need to say anything more. You know, IGN, W, every other gaming developer except for FromSoft, Larian, CD Projekt Red, L. L for you. Do better. No more battle passes. It's over. No more battle passes. No more battle pass. The only games that get to have battle passes are free-to-play games. Do you understand? Free-to-play games. If your game is not free-to-play, I don't want to see a single one more transaction beyond the upfront cost. Right? Peace out.